Mhm. Okay, everybody. This is Brett, your favorite YouTuber, and tonight I'm going to tell you why the No Kings protests don't really hold that much water. And they do, but they don't. And the reason is because the government that we've had for quite a while now doesn't get anything done, at least not very easily, at least not without spending a lot of money and taking way too much time to get something done. Okay, and I don't think this is going to take me very long to talk about. So in a democracy, you've got the left and you've got the right, and you've got the ping, ping, ping of polarity between the two, constantly going and going and going. And eventually you hope that they find some sort of compromise in the middle and they agree to some sort of an ordeal and they sign the papers and then it gets done. But because it takes so long, and because it costs so much money, and there's so much red tape, so much bureaucracy, that it's become ridiculous. Okay? So democracy is a good thing, but when it becomes ridiculous, then it no longer makes sense. And then somebody comes along that's, yes, a criminal and a liar and all of this and that, which is totally true. But he has a degree of common sense and he pulls strings and he uses the executive order and he gets stuff done. And so, like, even though this person is a joker, a complete freaking joker in so many regards, a lot of people are going to buy into it and love this guy because he actually gets something done as a king. Okay? You can call him whatever you want, a king, or you can call him a getter dunner person. And you may agree with some of the things that he gets done or not, but regardless, he actually does. Whereas the current government, for God knows how many decades at least, doesn't get anything done without insanity, nutcase insanity. And they love it because the bigger the government gets and the more people there are in the government, the more dependent they are on that government check to come in. So it's like an insane bureaucracy that just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, costing the American public more and more and more money. And so somebody that's a business person, which is great. Like for me, I voted for Ross Perot a long time ago, over 30 years ago. It was 1992. And I was thinking to myself, well, what we need is a business person to come in there and clean everything up. Get rid of so many expenses, so many employees, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's what we need. I didn't vote for Trump because for me, he's just an unethical loser. But I can definitely see the value of Trump. And so hopefully some people out there can think with their brains. That's the title of this video, okay? Think with your brain. Be in the middle. Don't be a right wing or a left wing anything. Just be somebody that has a degree of compassion, but a degree of logic and common freaking sense. Okay. And I don't really want to talk about all of the different things that Trump's done, but hopefully some of you, even if you're totally anti-Trump like I am, some of you can see the logic in some, at least some of the things that he's doing and or has done. Okay? That we, the country, needs. Sometimes a person or the country has to do things to survive. And those things may not be perfect. Okay? But this is a country where if you look at Ukraine and other countries in, you know, the ones that escaped from Russia, from the Soviet Union 20 whatever years ago, those countries do not want to go back to a dictatorship. They do not want to go back to a lot of different types of governments that are out of balance. Like, for instance, when COVID came along, we saw how the UK, what are they called, countries, Canada and the United and New Zealand and Australia, etc., the common countries. We saw how the Commonwealth countries were too controlled by the government, right? They're overtaxed. Those poor people in Canada are overtaxed to the max, and they're controlled and they're forced to get things like vaccines. They took all the truckers' licenses away from them if they wouldn't get the vaccine, you know? And so that's an overreach of government. So we've seen how there can be an overreach, insanity of government, a loss of freedom whenever, and Biden was in charge and he tried to force everyone to get the vaccine. And health people like me said, there's no way we're ever gonna do that, okay? So that's an overreach, insanity of a democratic government, Trudeau. Okay. So when things get out of balance, there has to be a movement towards the center. In order for that to happen, there has to be freedom to speak. And you can scream, no kings, no kings, no kings, as much as you want to. But in order to have no kings, you have to become a responsible individual. There are so many things that I can tell you about how people are totally irresponsible in this country. Look at their diets. Junk food eaters. Big, fat, obese, junk food eaters, full of bacteria. Big, bloated, they look like they're gonna have a baby or 2 or 3 any moment now, right there on the floor at the grocery store. Men, women, okay? In order for people to have a country that's financially sustainable, you can't have everyone giving a huge percentage of their money to the medical industry. It is unsustainable, my friends. You can't do it. It won't work. China will see that and they will take advantage of it. And eventually the US will get weak in various regards, and we will all be Chinese. Okay. I'm hoping that doesn't happen and people start to realize, hey, we've got some problems here. The healthcare industry is not really the healthcare industry. It's not healthcare. But that's what people think it is. It's idiocy. It's absolute insanity. If you want to be healthy, you have to look like this. At 60, at 70, at 80, at 90, I'll look better in a year. Wait till you see me in a year or 2 years or 5 years. I'm going to look hot. I don't even want most women in their 20s right now, let alone in a year or 5 years. they're horrible looking. They're fat. They're blobs. They're a bunch of blobs. 20-year-olds. Okay. And I won't go into that. But at least Trump actually gets some things done. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Right? Will I ever vote for him? I'm hoping, for God's sake, that some party, somewhere can come up with some person that actually can get things done, and both sides learn some lessons here, and they actually cut a bunch of red tape, a whole bunch of red tape, and get some things done. All of these executive orders are perfect to create a lot of tension on our government to think about how, hey, maybe we should do some things to actually get some shit done in the future, instead of just playing these ping pong games of where we hit the ball back and forth forever, right? Forever. And are they learning anything about the criminals? Well, let's just take a year or two and spend millions of dollars to get that one guy in Idaho to have a life sentence. We're going to put that Koberger in jail for the next 30 years and spend all of that money, millions of dollars, on this criminal murderer loser. It makes no sense at all when you could take all of that money and give it to people that really need it. Think of all the people out there that could use all of those hundreds of millions, billions of dollars that our government, our states spend on repeat criminal losers to stay in jail. Okay. And then the argument is like, oh, well, we can't kill them, because if we did, that would cost a lot of money. Oh yeah, it would cost so much time and red tape and lawyer expenses and judge expenses. It would cost so much money. And that's because we have a problem. Too much shit, too much BS. When somebody, they need to cut the times for all of this processing. Cut. Somebody needs to be tried and thrown in jail, or if somebody gets so many repeat offenses, that should be it. That should be it. They should be done and gone to the next world in that long. They should be gone from this world, because we have 8 billion people that are hungry. They need housing. They have all of these needs, right? And we're spending billions of dollars on people that aren't worth keeping. When you get something in your house that's not good anymore, what do? Well, you throw it out. You get rid of it. We have 8 billion people. You know how many too many that is? Who knows? 100 times? 1,000 times too many people? The bad ones need to go to the next world. Do you have any faith? If you believe in stuff like me, spiritually, then you believe that there is another existence beyond this one. So nobody ever dies. But on a physical level, we need to be able to enjoy our lives. And a lot of people cause us to not be able to enjoy our lives because they're low lives. Okay. Low lives need to go away somehow. That's my opinion. So in my opinion, we need to radically tighten a lot of this government bureaucracy crap needs to go away. And yes, a whole lot of people that are in government need to do something else with their lives instead of their worthless government jobs. I can give you a zillion ideas. People need to start eating healthy or organic food grown at home. Do you know how many yards there are out there that are just grass that get mowed every week that need to be turned into gardens? You know how many people need to be working to prevent forest fires? And we've got all these problems now with global warming and all of this stuff that needs to be done to prevent Southern California from burning to the ground and so many different things. All of the West needs a lot of work to prevent things that are wood from burning to the ground, because that's going to happen in the future. There's going to be a lot more Santa Ana winds and a lot more embers flying all over the place. And anything that's wood that's exposed needs to be covered with some kind of a non-flammable something, clay or stucco or something. So give all those government workers, don't give them jobs, government jobs. There needs to be some kind of incentive, something. And there will be. Guess what? There will be incentive. And that incentive will be the fires. That's what's going to happen. And so it's crazy, the imbalances in our government, but not just the government, the people. Until there are a lot of changes created by the people, there are going to be movements back towards one individual that calls the shots and gets things done in one stroke of the pen. Because things need to get done, and if they don't get done, then the people are going to suffer, and or there's going to be problems like we have. And so that's the thing, that's the deal. If you liberals, if you Democrats, you want to live in a world, in a country where there are no kings, then everyone, not just the Democrats, but also the Republicans, the moderates, everyone has to get their acts together. The whole country needs to think about things and live their lives logically, and stop living stupidly. And as soon as everyone can get her done, That's what they say here in the mountains. Get her done. That's what they say in a lot of places in the country. Because country people, they know that they've got to get her done. And if our government isn't getting stuff done logically and efficiently, that's what you're going to get, a king. Somebody with half a brain, and that's about what he has. Half a brain comes in and says, okay, well, I'll just sign this executive order and make that happen. Bing, 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 bing. Okay? So there you go. I want to thank you so much for joining me. Thank you, Joe, for making those comments. You can go back and watch this video, and I doubt that anyone will make very many comments about this video, because everything I said is just logic and common sense and blah-de-da, and hopefully our government can start to act logically and efficiently so that we don't have to have this type of a president anymore. Thanks for joining me. Bye.